As clearly communicated by Mr. Kharge, the decision regarding the Prime Minister will be taken after the election has been fought and the elected MPs can elect the leader of the House. So that's a procedure that we are going to follow, and that has been very clearly articulated by our AICC president. Now, regarding 2019 election, if my data is correct, BJP got about 37.7% vote share. And even if you put the allies together, I think about 60% vote went to the opposition parties. Now, the opposition parties were not fighting together. So if you take an example of Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, and among these three states, we're talking about 130 parliamentary seats. Now, in Maharashtra, a Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray fraction and NCP and Congress were not fighting together. In Bihar, JDU, NCP, and Congress were not fighting together. In West Bengal, for example, Congress and TMC were not fighting the election together. So when you
how much of a difference might it make in a state like West Bengal, Amitabh Tiwari, if the Congress and the Trinamool do fight together? How much of a difference could it make to the BJP's fortunes? One potential is that the Muslim vote unites fully behind the Trinamool and the Congress. The other is that the Muslim vote in a state like West Bengal is largely going to be with the Trinamool in any case, regardless of whether the Congress is on the ticket, because they'll be seen as the prime opponent to the BJP. So what impact might it make on the ground in the elections? Amitabh Tiwari.
I mean, theoretically, if you just add Congress, TMC and CPM's numbers in 2019, assuming all of them come together, then they could have won 8 more seats. But this is assuming a seamless transfer.
But we saw SP and BSP coming together.
Correct.
Doesn't mean
this
anything.
Is assuming seamless transfer of votes. This is assuming seamless transfer of votes. And just one point again, in the BJP versus regional party contest, on 88 seats, Congress is number 3. And here is where the role of the alliances come into picture for the India bloc.
Interesting. You're saying look at chart number 3, so I'll call it up on the screen right away. In the 185 seats where it's BJP versus a regional party, Amitabh Tiwari points out that on 80 plus seats, the Congress is number 3. So if you add the Congress's votes to those 57 seats that the regional party won, then the BJP could hypothetically fall from that 128. In a worst case scenario, they could lose 60, 70, and that would make the battle very different. Rajat Sethi is itching to come in to counter that. In these 185 seats, BJP versus regional party, if the Congress's vote does go, it means less opposition wasted vote and potentially, at least on paper, a tougher battle for the BJP, Rajat Sethi.
Exactly, Rahul, it's just on paper, because devil lies in the detail. If you unpack this regional bloc, you will see a lot of parties which are actually ambivalent. You have BRS, which will go increasingly vary some of Congress's gains in Telangana. They might get closer to BJP or at least be open to an outside support. You will see both TDP as well as Jagan's party itching to be, seen in the same frame as Prime Minister Modi. You have Naveen Patnaik, who's also on the other side. And like all of these people are not essentially opposition per se. So even in this regional bloc that is being projected here, these are some of the very strong performing regional parties who are not even in the India bloc. So this theoretical sort of a projection into how things will pan out doesn't seem that true. And by the way, the only place where I have seen the India bloc really fusing and working together is Maharashtra. It is only there where MVA as a bloc in its as a whole, I don't see any differentiation between the party cadres, like till the grassroots. They're pretty much fused.
No, but we saw in the recent local body elections when it was MVA versus the Mahayuti won quite handsomely.
See, usually speaking, local body and that to the Gram Sabha level elections go in favor of the ruling incumbent. And I would not read too much into that. But looking at an overall sort of a case study where the India bloc is actually doing fine in terms of organization, not in terms of votes. At least in organization, because they have had a working equation for the past 4 or 5 years. Nowhere else do they have the experience of working together. You've seen that unfolding in Madhya Pradesh. The bigger worry is that there is no history function of all of these parties coming together, and therefore this, this simple combination of vote share is not going to work. It won't be seamless.
Because you need more than just arithmetic. You need some form of chemistry. You need a promise, you need a personality, and you need conviction to take on a colossus like Prime Minister Modi. It won't happen just by arithmetic addition, it requires chemistry to spark and light connect with the Indian voter. Will they be able to do it? Not much emerging from today's meeting in terms of consensus and moving forward, at least an effort to try and see if there can be a seat sharing formula by the end of the month. Let's see if that does come through. I want to thank our guests for joining us on the news track. I'll have a separate edition this week of the Political Stock Exchange where we look at the numbers and how they're shaping up. India Alliance versus the BJP. What does the battle look like numerically?